I spent countless hours on the phone with the CSPs and who were the CSPs, and then asking the CSPs, okay, what does your client want us to just do and everything. And the last thing we did is I combined Cumberland, Harrisburg, Chester, and Lancaster Christmas party and everything. And we had over 75 participants, kind of CSPs and everything at the party. And people have been, since I've taken this job, I have had no chance to talk to the staff or hopefully after the summer months, hopefully the participant group started again.
Great. And Steve had shared with us as we were eating lunch, and it was so wonderful to hear. I know we had a chance to also talk to some of his staff as well. And Steve, you have a lot of great goals. And interestingly, I know we have a little bit of time. Just like Michelle, Steve also is a writer, and he's done some pretty great things. Steve, since we have a couple extra minutes, do you want to talk about what you wrote?
What do you want me to talk about in the story?
Well, just tell us that you wrote a story.
Yeah, I wrote a story about how autism affected my life growing up from day one. And not many people can say this. I've been hit about this time, 21 years ago, I was hit by a pickup truck and everything. I was dead at the accident, the scene where I was hit. Where I was living. I was trying to cross over where I lived, and I lived on a busy highway and everything. Sucked my pet 2-4 out and everything, and I hit the passenger side of the truck, hit me and everything, and then I was pronounced dead. Had to go through rehab, but of course had to learn how to walk again, of course, and then had to learn how to swim. The first time and then the part of the requirement for my 6th grade year, which was my middle school year after everything, had to learn how to swim. First time jumping in the pool, the teacher did not want to save my life. Lucky enough, one of my classmates who was taking the class saved my life and everything.
So Steve, this is a story about your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how long did it take you to write this story?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. And actually, I know you've been working with Erica Wexler, and hopefully being able to publish and share his story with all of us, right? We're talking about maybe putting it on our website, and that's something that after the conference and after everything kind of settles, maybe starting in July, we'll be able to share that with you. So it's great. Anything else you want to say about your story? Is that it?
Another question for Pat.
Go ahead, you can go ahead and come back to that.
Okay.
Patty, I know when we were talking about the changes that Michelle has gone through and how she's grown and is learning and doing things, you mentioned about how she kind of carries herself and how once she was kind of down in the dumps and how and what that meant to you as a parent. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, she used to just walk kind of like slumped over, very low self-esteem.
I had none.
She really didn't have any self-esteem left. And since the waiver, she has a different walk to her. She doesn't feel isolated. She has support. She has people that come and talk to her, and these girls have all become friends, really good friends. And like for an example, last year we had a important party for her. It was when she got her associate's degree, and they had all helped so much, and everybody was so excited. They shared the excitement of the family, and so Michelle was afraid when she got to the pool where we were having the party that she'd find no place to escape if she needed to, no safe haven. And so Sarah and Casey and Heather went to the pool with Michelle. They looked the whole place over. They went over everything that was going to happen at the party and where she could hide if she needed to. And then they decided they were coming too. So they came to the party, and anytime, they just watched, and any kind of anxiety that came up, whatever, they were all there. We didn't have to worry that she was going to miss this very important day that she really didn't think she was going to be able to do.
Yep.
Because a few years ago, she wouldn't have been able to do it.
No. Also,
It was awesome.
also, would you like to mention about my cousin?
Oh, the wedding. You want to
You wanna
mention?
talk?
Yeah, I'm actually going to my cousin's wedding, and I tried on a dress, which was a very big thing for me. Very, very big thing. I was actually talking about Ronnie more.
Oh. Ronnie.
Ronnie, the cousin that I'm actually an inspiration to my cousin. He actually went into, what is it, Mom?
He's going in, he works pretty much like with services, and he actually he geared his goal to autism because he calls Michelle his hero. She's just,
Psychology.
oh, psychology,
School
yes.
psychologist.
And, yeah, and he deals with a lot of kids who before he would have known like the clinical ways to deal with them and to talk with them, but Michelle has given him so many ideas of, you know, what to say, what to look for. She really understands. She's an advocate for the adult autism waiver because she can explain, as I have trouble and even she can actually explain how to go about it, what teachers can do to help. When she had a job as a teacher's assistant, and she's going to look for another job because this one wasn't after school. It wasn't.
It wasn't after school.
It was an after-school program, and it wasn't, you know, set up in a classroom where she needed a type.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Good.
I had a question, Lindy, for you. You know, hearing all these great things, obviously, that Michelle and Steve have been able to do, and how do you know as a provider that participants are reaching their goals and being successful with the program?
I think just meeting their goals and objectives. Over the years, I was actually one of the first providers on the scene for the waiver, so I've been involved with a lot of cases, and I don't think I can think of one case that I've been involved with that hasn't shown improvement and successes in their goals and objectives, regardless of how big or small they are. We have a consumer that the story was shared with us last week that the consumer's nonverbal, and since 2011 working with our staff, he's become fluent in over 70 signs, and now he's met his social skills goal and actually appreciates communicating with people now, which is a huge deal. So I think with all those consumers, regardless of how big or small, you're absolutely going to see successes with the goals and objectives.
That's great. Yeah, celebrating those successes.
Can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I forgot to.
No.
I'm actually, when I said teacher's assistant, I'm actually becoming a teacher's assistant to help autism.
That's great.
Yeah, I think we're just, unless there's other questions or comments that people want to share, or final words that, Steve, that you may want to say, or Cindy or Michelle or anyone, we'll take a moment to let that happen. If you have anything to say, Steve? Or Lindy, or Michelle, or Patty.
I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity for inviting us up here. It really was such an honor. I definitely don't consider myself an expert in the least bit. I just enjoy what I do. I learn something new every day. So I just really appreciate the opportunity.
That's great. Well, we're glad to have all of you with us. Each perspective is important and valuable and really helps us as providers and people that work within the programs to understand from various perspectives what it takes to make things successful. So thanks so much for sharing your stories and being with us.